The massive ship moved slowly through space, its dark metal hull gleaming under the distant stars. Inside, hundreds of alien beings worked at glowing screens and strange devices. This was the Galactic Federation survey ship Nexus Prime, and today, they had found something new. Commander Zeftar stood 8 feet tall on his 4 legs. His gray skin was smooth like stone, and his large black eyes never blinked. He was the best at finding and studying new species in the galaxy. For over 200 years, he had visited thousands of worlds and met countless alien races. Today felt like any other day. "Commander, we have reached the target system," said his assistant, a small blue creature with tentacles for arms. "The third planet shows signs of life." Zeftar moved to the main viewing screen. A blue and green world spun slowly before them. White clouds swirled over vast oceans and brown land masses. It looked peaceful, almost boring. "Begin the deep scan," Zeftar ordered. "I want to know everything about this species before we make contact." The ship's powerful computers went to work. Invisible beams of energy swept across the planet below. In seconds, they had information about every living thing on the world. The computers sorted through millions of life forms, but one species stood out. They were the only ones who had built cities and machines. "Scanning complete, Commander," the blue assistant said. "The dominant species calls themselves humans. Sending the data to your screen now." Zeftar looked at the information and almost laughed. The data was disappointing. These humans were so weak compared to other species he had found. They had no natural weapons like claws or fangs. Their skin was soft and easily damaged. They could not see in the dark or hear sounds from far away. Most of them lived less than 100 years, which was nothing compared to his own species. "Look at this," Zeftar said to his team. "They have no fur to keep them warm, no poison to protect themselves, no hard shell like the Krex warriors. They cannot even breathe underwater or survive in space without machines." His assistant nodded. "Their technology is very basic too, Commander. They still use chemical rockets to travel in space. Most of their weapons shoot small metal pieces. They have not even learned to control gravity or bend space." Zeftar shook his head. In all his years of work, he had never seen such a useless species reach the top of their world. Usually the strongest and most dangerous creatures became the rulers of their planets, but these humans seemed to have won by accident. "What about their physical strength?" asked Dr. Milvax, the ship's science officer. She was tall and thin with green skin and 6 arms. "Very poor," the computer answered, in its calm voice. "Average human strength is far below galactic standard. A single Thorian warrior could defeat 50 humans in combat. Even the peaceful Glimmerfolk are 3 times stronger." "Mental abilities?" Dr. Milvax asked. "Basic intelligence only. They show some problem-solving skills, but nothing special. They cannot read minds, move objects with thought, or see the future. Their brains are small and made of soft tissue." Zeftar walked around the control room, thinking. The Federation had rules about what to do with new species. Strong and dangerous ones were invited to join as equals. Useful ones became trade partners. Species with special abilities were studied and protected. But weak, useless ones were usually moved somewhere else so their planets could be used for better purposes. "Commander," said the computer, "I have finished the full analysis. These humans fit into Category 7 of our classification system." Everyone in the room knew what Category 7 meant. It was for species that posed no threat and had no value. To the Federation, they were called the harmless and useless category. Most Category 7 species were moved to preservation worlds where they could live out their lives without getting in the way of important galactic business. "Are you sure about this?" Zeftar asked. "Check again for any special abilities we might have missed." The computer hummed for a few seconds. "Scan complete. No special abilities detected. No natural weapons. No unique mental powers. No rare biological features. These humans appear to be one of the weakest species we have ever encountered." Dr. Milvax made notes on her datapad. "It is strange, Commander. How did such a weak species become the rulers of their world? Usually the strongest creatures take control. Maybe they got lucky," Zeftar said with a shrug. Sometimes evolution makes mistakes. These humans probably survived because they hid from the real predators on their world. The blue assistant pulled up images of Earth on the main screen. They could see human cities, roads, and farms spread across the continents. Millions of humans moved about their daily lives, unaware that alien eyes were watching them from space. "What should we do with them, Commander?" the assistant asked. Zeftar looked at the peaceful world below. He felt almost sorry for these weak creatures. They had no idea how dangerous the galaxy could be. Out here, among the stars, only the strong survived. Species like the Krex Empire conquered entire star systems with their massive war fleets. The hive mind controlled thousands of worlds with their mental powers. Even the Peaceful Traders Guild had energy weapons that could destroy planets. These humans would not last a day in the real galaxy. They were too weak, too slow, and too stupid to compete with the great powers of space. But the Federation had a duty to preserve life, even useless life. "We will follow standard procedure for Category 7 species," Zeftar decided. "Prepare the relocation ships. Find them a nice quiet world where they can live in peace, somewhere out of the way where they will not bother anyone important." "Yes, Commander," his team replied. As the great ship prepared to make contact with Earth, none of the aliens realized they were making the biggest mistake in galactic history. They had completely failed to understand what made these humans truly dangerous. Soon the entire galaxy would learn that looks could be very deceiving. The first sign came on a Tuesday morning when every telescope on Earth pointed toward the same spot in space. Astronomers around the world stared in shock at their screens. Something massive was moving toward Earth, something that had not been there the day before. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the control room of the Arecibo Observatory, watching the data stream across her computer. The object was huge, bigger than any asteroid or comet they had ever seen, but it was not moving like a natural object. It was slowing down. "This is impossible," she whispered to her colleague. "Nothing that big should be able to change speed like that." Within hours, news stations around the world were showing the same images. A dark shape was growing larger in Earth's sky. As it came closer, people could see it was not a rock or ice. It was clearly made by someone. It was a ship. 3 days later, smaller ships broke away from the massive vessel. They descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars, but they did not crash. Instead, they landed gently in major cities around the world. One touched down in New York's Central Park. Another landed in London's Hyde Park. More ships settled in Tokyo, Moscow, Berlin, and dozens of other cities. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They were made of smooth gray, metal that seemed to glow with its own light. They had no visible doors or windows, but strange symbols moved across their surfaces like living words. For 2 days, nothing happened. The ships just sat there while Earth's governments argued about what to do. Should they attack? Should they try to communicate? Should they evacuate the cities? Then on the 3rd day, the ships opened. Tall gray figures emerged, walking on 4 legs like strange horses. Their faces had large black eyes that never blinked, and they moved with calm confidence. They carried no visible weapons, but somehow, everyone knew these beings were far more powerful than any human army. The aliens spoke in perfect English, Chinese, Spanish, and every other human language. They had learned them all from Earth's radio and television signals. Their message was the same everywhere they landed. "People of Earth," they said through speakers that appeared from nowhere. "We are the Galactic Federation. We have come to help you." Commander Zeftar stood in Central Park, surrounded by thousands of nervous humans. News cameras from around the world focused on him as he delivered the message that would change everything. "Your species has been evaluated according to Federation standards," he announced. "You have been classified as Category 7, non-threatening and requiring protection. Your world contains valuable resources that the galaxy needs, but do not worry. We will not harm you." A reporter pushed forward with a microphone. "What does that mean for us?" "It means you will be relocated to a safer place," Zeftar explained patiently, as if talking to children. "We have found you a lovely world, where you can live in peace. It is called Kepler 442b. The air is good, the water is clean, and there are no dangerous predators. The crowd stirred uneasily. Someone shouted, "This is our home. You cannot make us leave." Zeftar's large black eyes showed something that might have been sympathy. "We understand this is difficult, but your species is too weak to survive in the larger galaxy. There are creatures out there that would destroy you without a second thought. We are doing this to protect you." Around the world, the same scene played out in every major city. Earth's leaders were called to emergency meetings with the aliens. Presidents, prime ministers, and kings all heard the same gentle but firm message. Humanity was being evicted from Earth for their own good. "But this is wrong," shouted the President of the United States during a meeting with Dr. Milvax in Washington. "You cannot just take our planet." "We are not taking it," Dr. Milvax replied with her 6 arms folded calmly. "We are preserving its resources for the greater good of the galaxy. Your new home will be much better suited to your needs." "And if we refuse?" asked the Prime Minister of Britain. Dr. Milvax paused for a moment. "Then we will be forced to relocate you anyway. But we prefer to do this peacefully. Your species shows promise despite its weaknesses. We do not wish to harm you." To prove their power, the aliens demonstrated their technology. They lifted entire buildings into the air with invisible beams of energy. They made rain fall upward and turned day into night with the wave of a hand. Earth's most powerful weapons bounced harmlessly off their shields. The message was clear. Resistance was pointless. Within a month, massive transport ships began arriving. They were even larger than the first vessel, designed to carry millions of people across the stars. The 2 aliens had thought of everything. The ships had artificial gravity, clean air, and comfortable sleeping areas. They even provided food that tasted like familiar Earth dishes. "Please form orderly lines," alien workers told the humans as they boarded the transports. "Families will be kept together. You may bring small personal items, but larger possessions are not necessary. Everything you need will be provided on your new world." Sarah Chen stood with her family at the loading dock in New York Harbor. Around them, thousands of other humans waited their turn to board the alien ship. Some people cried. Others looked angry. A few seemed excited about the adventure. "Where exactly are you taking us?" Sarah asked one of the alien workers. "To Kepler 442b, the creature replied. "It is a frontier world on the edge of Federation, space. Very quiet and peaceful. You will join other relocated species there." "Other species?" "Oh yes. The relics were moved there 50 years ago when their homeworld was needed for mining. The soft ones arrived 30 years ago. Very gentle creatures like yourselves. You will all get along well together." As the transport ships filled with humanity, Zeftar stood on the observation deck of his command vessel, watching Earth shrink in the distance. He felt satisfied with a job well done. The humans had been relocated without any major violence. Soon, Federation mining ships would arrive to extract Earth's rare metals and crystals. "The humans seem unhappy," observed his blue assistant. "They will adjust," Zeftar said confidently. "All species do eventually. In a few generations, they will thank us for saving them from the dangers of galactic civilization." He turned away from the viewing port and walked toward his quarters. Tomorrow they would arrive at Kepler 442b, and the humans would begin their new lives as protected residents of a preservation world. It was really the best possible outcome for such a weak and helpless species. Behind him, the last transport ship carrying humans disappeared into hyperspace, leaving Earth empty and ready for strip mining. None of the aliens noticed the small communications devices that some humans had managed to hide in their belongings. None of them thought to scan for the simple digital storage units containing all of human knowledge and history. The Federation had successfully relocated another, useless species. What could possibly go wrong? Kepler 442b was nothing like Earth. The sky was orange instead of blue, and 2 small suns hung overhead like angry red eyes. The air was thin and made breathing hard work. Strange purple plants grew everywhere, and the ground was covered with sharp rocks that cut through shoes in just a few days. The aliens had dropped humanity on this world with basic supplies and wished them luck. They left behind some simple shelters, water purifiers, and food machines that could make bland protein bars from the local plants. Then they flew away, expecting the humans to quietly live out their lives in this remote corner of the galaxy. But the aliens had made their first big mistake. They thought humans would just sit around feeling sorry for themselves. Dr. Sarah Chen stood on a hill overlooking the main human settlement. It had been 6 months since they arrived, and the place looked nothing like the sad refugee camp the aliens had expected. Instead of just using the basic shelters, humans had already started building better ones. "The morning construction teams are ready," said Marcus Rodriguez, a former engineer from Mexico City. He carried a tool made from salvaged alien metal that cut through rock like butter. "We should have the new water system finished by tonight." Sarah nodded and looked at the growing town below. The aliens had given them enough supplies for maybe a few thousand people to survive. But humans had a way of making things work when they should not work. They always found a way. The first breakthrough came when a group of children started playing with broken pieces of alien technology. The adults had been afraid to touch the strange devices, but kids did not know they should be scared. 8-year-old Jenny Lou figured out how to make a piece of alien metal float in the air just by touching it in the right spot. "Look what I can do," she had shouted, making the metal spin and dance above her head. Within days, human scientists were taking apart every piece of alien equipment they could find. They discovered that the technology was not as complicated as it looked. It was just very different from what humans were used to. Instead of electricity, it used something called quantum energy that flowed through special crystals. The second breakthrough came when they met their neighbors. The relics were small, furry creatures that looked like a cross between cats and monkeys. They had been living on Kepler 442b for 50 years, hiding in caves and barely surviving. When the humans arrived, the relics were amazed. These new creatures actually seemed happy to be on this terrible world. "You build things," said Zilk, the eldest relic, speaking through a translation device. "We thought all species just waited to die when they came here." "Why would we wait to die?" asked Sarah. "We just got here. There is so much to do." The relic showed the humans where to find the best rocks for building and which plants were safe to eat. In return, humans shared their technology and their strange human habit of making everything better than it was before. The soft ones were even more surprising. They looked like giant jellyfish, but were actually brilliant mathematicians. They had been living underwater in the planet's lakes, spending their time solving complex puzzles in their heads. They had never thought to build anything or change their environment. "Mathematics is beautiful," explained Gloop 7, communicating through patterns of colored light on his transparent skin. "But your species does something we do not understand. You make ideas become real things." "Of course we do," said Marcus, showing Gloop 7 his latest invention. "What good is an idea if you cannot use it?" The three species began working together in ways that surprised everyone. Humans provided energy and leadership. The relics knew the planet better than anyone. The soft ones could calculate exactly how to make any project work perfectly. By the end of the first year, they had built a real city. Not just shelters, but actual buildings with running water, electricity, and even a few luxuries. They had workshops where humans reverse-engineered alien technology and made it better. They had farms growing both earth plants and local food. They even had a small hospital and a school for the children. But the real discovery came when Jenny, Liu, now 9 years old, found something glowing in a cave. "Dr. Chen, Dr. Chen!" she shouted, running into the research center with a crystal the size of her fist. "Look what I found. It makes the alien machines go super fast." Sarah took the crystal carefully. It was beautiful, like a piece of captured starlight. When she brought it near a piece of alien technology, the device began glowing brighter than she had ever seen. "Where did you find this?" Sarah asked. "In the deep caves. There are thousands of them down there. Maybe millions." Sarah felt her heart start beating faster. She called for Marcus and Gloop 7. When they saw the crystal, Marcus whistled low and Gloop 7's skin flashed bright yellow with excitement. "This is a quantum crystal," Gloop 7 said, his lights pulsing rapidly. "Pure energy storage, very rare. Very valuable. How valuable? Marcus asked. One crystal this size could power a city for a year. The Federation would pay anything for crystals like this. Sarah stared at the glowing stone in her hands. The aliens had dumped humanity on this world because they thought it was worthless. They had no idea they had just given humans access to the most valuable resource in the galaxy. Over the next few months, exploration teams found crystal formations everywhere. The planet was not a dumping ground at all. It was a treasure world that the Federation had completely missed. The orange sky, the thin air, the strange plants, they were all signs of the quantum energy that filled this place. We need to be careful, Sarah told the growing council that now governed their little civilization. If the Federation finds out about the crystals, they will come back. And they will not be as nice this time. So what do we do? Asked Marcus. Sarah looked around the room at humans, relics, and soft ones working together. In just 1 year, they had built something amazing. They had taken alien technology and made it better. They had turned a harsh world into a home. They had brought 3 very different species together as friends and partners. We keep building, she said. We keep learning, and we get ready. Ready for what? Sarah smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had been underestimated for too long. Ready to show the galaxy what humans can really do. Deep in the caves below their city, quantum crystals pulsed with energy, waiting to power dreams that the aliens could never have imagined. Above ground, human children played with Rilix cubs and learned mathematics from the soft ones. In the workshops, humans built devices that would have amazed their old teachers back on Earth. The Federation thought they had solved the human problem by dumping them on a worthless world. Instead, they had just given humanity exactly what they needed to become the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They just did not know it yet. 2 years had passed since the humans were dumped on Kepler 442b. Commander Zeftar sat in his command chair, reviewing the yearly reports from all the preservation worlds. Most were exactly what he expected. The relocated species were slowly dying out or living quiet, simple lives. Status report on the human colony? He asked his blue assistant. No communications from Kepler 442b for 18 months, Commander. They probably had equipment failures. Most Category 7 species struggle with maintaining technology. Zeftar nodded. This was normal. Weak species usually went silent after a year or 2. Their machines broke down, their population dropped, and eventually they faded away. It was sad but natural. We should check on them, he decided. The Federation likes to keep records. Take a small survey ship and see how many are left. What Zeftar did not know was that the humans had stopped sending signals on purpose. They had learned to be very quiet while they worked on their secret projects. In the deep caves under their city, they had built something that would change everything. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the main laboratory watching the final tests of their new weapon system. It did not look like much, just a small metal tube connected to a box full of quantum crystals. But the readings on her screen made her smile. Power output is stable, reported Marcus, now the head of their weapons division. We are getting 50 times more energy than the original alien designs. Targeting system? Sarah asked. Perfect, said Gloop 7, his skin flashing green with pride. The soft ones calculated the mathematics. These weapons will hit anything within 1,000 miles. Around them, humans, Rilix, and soft ones worked together on dozens of similar projects. They had spent 2 years learning alien technology and making it better. Much better. The quantum crystals provided unlimited power, and human creativity had found ways to use that power the Federation had never imagined. Ma'am, called Jenny Liu, now 11 years old and already one of their best engineers. The defense grid is ready. All weapon platforms are connected and charged. Sarah walked to the main window and looked out at their city. From the outside, it still looked like a simple settlement, but hidden under the ground and built into the hills around them was the most advanced military system in the galaxy. Hundreds of crystal-powered weapons waited silently for targets. Invisible shields protected every building. and in the deep caves, their secret factory was building things that would make the Federation very nervous. "Contact on long-range sensors," announced Marcus from his control station. "One ship approaching from Federation space. It matches the design of a survey vessel." Sarah felt her heart start beating faster. This was the moment they had been preparing for. The aliens were coming back to check on their harmless prisoners. "All stations ready?" she asked. "Weapons charged and waiting," said Marcus. "Shields at full power," reported a Rilix engineer. "Communication systems ready to jam all Federation signals," added Gloop 7. "Then let them come," Sarah said quietly. The Federation survey ship entered orbit around Kepler 442b exactly as planned. On board, a young alien officer named Vexton was excited to see his first preservation world. He had heard stories about the strange species that lived on these remote planets. Beginning orbital scan, Vexton announced to his small crew, looking for human life signs. The first scan showed exactly what they expected. About 3 million humans were living in a settlement near the equator. Their technology levels appeared normal for a Category 7 species. Everything looked peaceful and boring. "Should we make contact?" asked the ship's pilot. "Standard procedure," Vexton replied. "Send them a greeting message and ask for a status report." The message went down to the planet's surface. "Human colony. This is Federation survey ship Brightwing. Please respond with current population and resource needs." The reply came back immediately. It was Sarah's voice, calm and polite. "Federation ship, this is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Kepler colony. We are doing well and require no assistance. Thank you for checking on us." Vexton smiled. This was exactly what a Category 7 species should sound like. Grateful and harmless. "Very good, Dr. Chen. We will update our records that your colony is stable. The Federation is pleased with your progress." "Actually," Sarah said, and something in her voice made Vexton pay closer attention, "we would like to discuss changing our status." "Changing your status?" Vexton was confused. "What do you mean?" "We no longer consider ourselves a Category 7 species. We have made some improvements." Vexton laughed. "Dr. Chen, species classifications do not change. You are what you are. A Category 7 species cannot become something else." "Are you sure about that?" Sarah asked. Suddenly, every alarm on the Federation ship started screaming. The pilot shouted, in panic as his controls went crazy. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to be glowing with strange energy. "What is happening?" Vexton demanded. His answer came in the form of a beam of pure light that struck his ship's shields. The shields designed to stop the most powerful Federation weapons lasted exactly 3 seconds before collapsing. The beam cut through the ship's armor like paper and disabled every system on board. "Dr. Chen," Vexton said, his voice shaking, "what have you done?" "We told you," Sarah replied calmly. "We made some improvements." On the planet below, crystal-powered weapon systems tracked the disabled Federation ship. In the caves, factories worked at full speed building more weapons, more ships, and more surprises for their former captors. Human engineers worked alongside their alien partners, creating technology that combined the best ideas from 3 different species. "Here is what is going to happen," Sarah continued, her voice now carrying the authority of someone who held all the power. "You are going to return to Federation space. You are going to tell them that the human colony has developed advanced military capabilities, and you are going to recommend that they come to negotiate, not to fight. The Federation will send a war fleet," Vexton warned. "You cannot fight the entire galaxy." "Can't we?" Sarah asked. "You see, Commander, you made a mistake 2 years ago. You thought weakness meant we were harmless. You thought putting us on a frontier world would keep us out of the way. But you forgot something important about humans." "What is that?" "We don't stay weak. We adapt. We improve. We overcome. And right now we have 2 years' worth of quantum crystal technology, and some very good friends who are tired of being treated like garbage." On cue, Rilix fighters powered up their engines and took positions around the Federation ship. Soft, 1 calculations guided targeting computers that locked onto the ship from a dozen different angles. And deep in the caves, something much larger was getting ready to emerge. "Your ship's engines will work again in 1 hour," Sarah said. "That should give you enough time to think about our message. When you get back to Federation space, tell them the humans want to talk. But tell them something else too." "What?" "Tell them that the galaxy just got a new player, and we don't like bullies." The communication ended, leaving Vexton alone with his terrified crew and a disabled ship. Around them, space flickered with the energy of weapons they had never seen before, controlled by a species they had completely underestimated. In just 2 years, the harmless humans had built an empire. Now it was time for the Federation to learn what that meant. The Federation Warfleet arrived at Kepler 442b 3 months later. It was the largest military force they had ever assembled, 500 ships carrying the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. Commander Zeftar stood on the bridge of the flagship, staring at the planet where he had dumped the humans 2.5 years ago. "Are you certain about this intelligence?" he asked his science officer for the 10th time. "Yes, Commander. The survey ship's data is clear. The humans have developed weapons that destroyed our shields in seconds. They also appear to have formed military alliances with the other relocated species." Zeftar shook his head in disbelief. It was impossible. Category 7 species did not develop advanced weapons. They certainly did not threaten Federation ships. There had to be some mistake. Perhaps they found some old technology left behind by a previous civilization, suggested Dr. Milvax. They could not have built these weapons themselves? Only one way to find out, Zeftar said. Open communications with the planet. Sarah Chen appeared on the main screen almost immediately. She looked older than when they had last seen her, but her eyes were bright and confident. Behind her, Zeftar could see humans, relics, and soft ones working together at control stations that looked far more advanced than anything the Federation used. "Commander Zeftar," Sarah said with a polite smile, "thank you for coming, though I think you brought too many ships. Dr. Chen, I'm here to investigate reports that your colony has developed illegal weapons. Federation law prohibits Category 7 species from possessing military technology." Sarah's smile grew wider. "Federation law? Commander, we are no longer subject to Federation law. We declared our independence 6 months ago." The bridge fell silent. Zeftar felt his forelegs grow weak. Independence? Category 7 species could not declare independence. They were protected wards of the Federation, not sovereign entities. "That is impossible," he said. "Your species lacks the legal standing to—" "Our species," Sarah interrupted, "has evolved beyond your understanding. Would you like a demonstration?" Before Zeftar could answer, space around his fleet began to glow. Hundreds of ships emerged from what had appeared to be empty space. They were sleek and beautiful, clearly built using quantum crystal technology. Each one pulsed with energy that made Federation sensors go crazy. "Those are not human ships," Dr. Milvax gasped. "You are right," Sarah said. "Some were built by relics, engineers, others by soft one mathematicians, but all of them use human innovation and quantum crystal power. You see, Commander, you taught us something very valuable when you dumped us here." "What is that?" "You taught us that the strong species in this galaxy like to pick on the weak ones. You taught us that might makes right, and that advanced technology gives you the authority to push others around. So we decided to get very strong, very fast." Zeftar looked at his tactical display. The human ships had surrounded his entire fleet without making a sound. His weapons officer reported that Federation targeting systems could not lock onto the enemy vessels. Their shields seemed to bend space itself, making them impossible to hit. "Commander," Sarah continued, "your fleet is powerful, but our weapons are powered by quantum crystals. Your ships run on fusion reactors. The difference in energy output is about 1,000 to 1 in our favor." To prove her point, one of the human ships fired a single shot at an asteroid floating nearby. The asteroid simply vanished, turned into scattered atoms by the incredible energy beam. "We could destroy your entire fleet in about 30 seconds, Sarah said matter-of-factly, "but we would prefer to talk." Zeftar felt something he had never experienced before: fear. For over 200 years, He had been one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Federation technology was supreme. Federation military might was absolute. But now he was facing something that made his advanced civilization look like children playing with toys. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. "We want you to leave all the other Category 7 species alone," Sarah said. "We want you to stop relocating weak civilizations just because you think their planets have nice resources. And we want you to change the way this galaxy works. The Federation Council will never agree to demands from a Category 7 species." Sarah's expression grew cold. "Commander, look around you. Do we look like a Category 7 species to you?" Zeftar had to admit that they did not. The ships surrounding his fleet were more advanced than anything the Federation had ever built. The technology he could see in the background of Sarah's transmission was decades ahead of their best science. And the confidence in her voice spoke of someone who held absolute power. "The Federation has ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. He said desperately. "You cannot just change everything." "Watch us," Sarah replied. Over the next 6 months, the human fleet spread across the galaxy. They did not conquer worlds or destroy cities. Instead, they visited every preservation world where Category 7 species had been dumped. They freed the relocated populations and offered them advanced technology and protection. Species that had been written off as useless suddenly became powerful allies. The timid soft ones became brilliant strategic planners. The small relics became expert pilots and engineers. Dozens of other weak species discovered that they had talents the HFY Federation had never bothered to notice. The Federation tried to fight back, but it was hopeless. Human weapons were too powerful, human technology too advanced, and human tactics too clever. Every battle ended the same way, with Federation ships disabled and their crews unharmed but thoroughly defeated. "How did this happen?" Zeftar asked, during his final meeting with the Federation Council. He had been demoted from his position and was facing charges of gross incompetence. "You made the same mistake many powerful civilizations make," replied Council Leader Vorthok. "You confused strength with superiority. You thought that because humans looked weak, they were weak. You thought that because they had no natural weapons, they were harmless. But your scans showed their bodies, not their minds. You measured their muscles, not their determination. You cataloged their limitations, not their potential. And now they have become exactly what we always claimed to be, the most dangerous species in the galaxy." On Kepler 442b, Sarah Chen stood in her office overlooking the capital city of the new Galactic Alliance. Through her window, she could see humans working alongside dozens of alien species, all of them equal partners in building a better future. "Dr. Chen," said Jenny Liu, now 14 and head of the Alliance's Technology Development Program, "the last Federation stronghold has agreed to join us. They want to adopt our constitution and legal system." Sarah smiled. The new constitution was simple but revolutionary. It said that all species had equal rights, regardless of their physical strength or technological development. It said that cooperation was better than domination. It said that the strong had a duty to protect the weak, not exploit them. "Any word from the old Federation Council?" Sarah asked. "They sent a formal surrender this morning. Commander Zeftar has requested permission to visit and study our methods. He says he wants to understand how he was so wrong about human potential." Sarah looked out at the thriving city below. In just 3 years, humanity had gone from being the galaxy's most despised refugees to its most respected leaders. They had proven that true strength did not come from big muscles or natural weapons. It came from the ability to adapt, to learn, to cooperate, and to never give up. The aliens had been right about one thing. Humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They were dangerous to bullies, dangerous to tyrants, and dangerous to anyone who thought that might made right. But they were also the galaxy's greatest hope for a better future, and that made all the difference.